Chelsea have been offered a £205,000 per week PSG star who could solve a key transfer wish for new head coach Enzo Maresca this summer. Chelsea eyeing new star attackers in busy summer window. Todd Boehly and Blue Co have made most of the headlines yet again this window in a show of serious spending, with nearly £120 million spent on 8 signings. Related. Chelsea hold new talks with Premier League club over signing £70 million talent. The official arrivals of Tosin Adarabioyo, Mark Guiu, Omari Kellyman, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, Estevao Willian and Renato Vega cost Chelsea around £93 million in total, while deals for Aaron Anselmino and Caleb Wiley most recently have added a further £25.5 million, The Athletic. Regardless of their spending so far, it remains the case that Chelsea could still make more signings before deadline day on August 30. The West Londoners are believed to be in the market for a new winger, with Borussia Dortmund's Karim Adeyemi and Athletic Bilbao's Nico Williams on Chelsea's radar. Maresca has also made it clear he wants a new striker behind the scenes, according to some reports, which led to a failed bid for Atletico Madrid starlet Samu Omorudion. Other marquee names have been linked with moves to Stamford Bridge, like Napoli star Victor Osimhen, but a move for the Nigerian appears less and less likely as the window ticks on due to the sheer size of a potential deal. Chelsea have considered Lille star Jonathan David as a cheaper option, but the Blues even tried their hand with an audacious approach for Newcastle United striker Alexander Isak at the start of this month. Both Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson were responsible for the majority of Chelsea's goal-scoring output last season, but as previously stated, it is believed Maresca is keen on bringing in a new striker to ease the burden. Chelsea offered PSG striker Randal Kolo Muani. According to HITC, PSG may have just handed them a solution to grant Maresca's wish in the form of Randal Kolo Muani. The outlet claims Chelsea have been offered the chance to sign Kolo Muani from PSG, as they look to offload strikers and make room for Osimhen. The League One champions are attempting to strike a deal with Napoli over the Nigerian, but will need to offload both Kolo Muani and Goncalo Ramos to free up squad space. The 25-year-old, who's been called a complete striker by Kylian Mbappé, bagged 23 goals and 17 assists in the 22-23 season for Eintracht Frankfurt, before joining PSG last summer. Kolo Muani, on around £205,000 per week at PSG, hasn't quite reached those same heights at the Parc des Princes, but perhaps Maresca could offer him a fresh start, making this one to watch. Newcastle United are plotting an audacious bid for one of Chelsea's recent big-money buys. England under-21 international Noni Madueke had an excellent spell of form towards the end of last season, and according to Football Insider that has persuaded them to have a crack at signing the winger, who arrived for a reported £29 million in January 2023. He isn't their only target, however, and the article also claims that they're looking at Leeds United's Crysencio Somerville or even West Ham United and England star Jared Bowen, but apparently they view Madueke as a significant improvement on their current options, so he may be at the top of the list. Madueke is a hugely talented and dangerous winger who is suffering from the presence of Cole Palmer. If he continues to play on the right wing under Enzo Maresca, then Madueke will have a tough job getting regular minutes. Throw in the fact that Chelsea almost certainly need to sell some players to meet profit and sustainability rules, and this might not be so very far-fetched. There's no word on the price tag. Everton reach draft agreement for midfielder. Just a couple of days ago, we commented on reports that Everton were allegedly interested in unwanted Napoli midfielder Jesper Lindstrom, and now Sport Witness claim that the two clubs have reached a draft agreement on a loan deal, with no obligation to buy. Rather wonderfully, one of the sources for the story is the brilliantly named Radio Kiss Kiss Napoli. Our recent article has more details on the Denmark international, who signed for Napoli for a reported €30 million (£26 million) last year, but suffice to say that a loan deal for a talented player who has rather lost his way in Italy makes sense given the financial constraints that the apparently unsellable Toffees are currently operating under. Elsewhere, Team Talk report that Everton have told disappointing striker Beto that he can leave the club. Lindstrom is a direct and hard-working attacking midfielder who makes a lot of sense for the way Sean Dyche sets his team up, and if they really can borrow him for a year, that's probably pretty good short-term business. As for the lack of a future purchase clause, we'll reserve judgment until we see if he can get through his lost season in Naples. As for Beto, he looked really good on debut against Tranmere Rovers, but didn't do much after that. Let's wrap up by cycling all the way back to Chelsea now. If caught offside have their facts straight, then they're right at the front of the queue for Nottingham Forest's talented young defender Murillo, and have even opened negotiations for the 22-year-old Brazilian. Apparently Moresca sees Murillo as a strong target, but Forest will demand a huge transfer fee in order to let him leave. Never a team to be dissuaded by a gigantic asking price, Chelsea seem to be pressing ahead and now lead Arsenal in the race to sign the centre-back, with the Gunners concentrating on Bologna's Riccardo Calafiori. Atletico Madrid had been mentioned as a potential buyer in the past, but they seem to have dropped away after signing Euro 2024 winner Robin Lenormand. The 3 a.m. verdict. Murillo showed a lot of promise and has all the talent required to go a long way, but he hasn't yet played at his best week in, week out, and that makes it feel slightly surprising that clubs with European aspirations would be prepared to break the bank for him. Then again, Chelsea have smashed it to pieces for players with much shorter track records. Chelsea could be about to get rid of one player who they currently have on their books. This summer, Chelsea have sold the likes of Ian Motson and Omari Hutchinson, with the former signing for Aston Villa and the latter joining Ipswich Town. They made quite a bit of cash from Motson's sale, with the left-back moving to Villa in a £35 million deal. More departures, which could also see the Blues bring in decent money, are expected, as the likes of Romelu Lukaku and Conor Gallagher continue to be linked with moves away from Stamford Bridge. Atletico Madrid are keen on the midfielder, but Chelsea doubt Atletico have the funds for Gallagher. Romelu Lukaku could sign for Napoli. While Gallagher could be moving to Atletico if the Spanish club can acquire the money to sign him, it looks like Lukaku could be off to Napoli. After spending the last 2 seasons out on loan at AS Roma and Inter Milan, it is highly unlikely that the striker will have a role under new Chelsea manager Enzo Maresca this upcoming season. Fact: according to GianlucaDiMarzio.com, Lukaku has now agreed a 3-year contract with Napoli. Regarding how much Napoli could have to pay to complete the transfer, the same outlet claims that Chelsea want around €35 million (£29.5 million) for their forward. Earlier this week, Fabrizio Romano reported that Lukaku's contract wasn't an issue for Napoli. Romelu Lukaku's move to Napoli not certain. Chelsea will be desperate to offload Lukaku before the transfer window closes. As per Spotrac, he is currently the club's highest earner alongside Raheem Sterling. Unfortunately, for Todd Boehly and company, though, there is no guarantee that Lukaku will end up moving to Napoli, largely because Victor Osimhen is still at the club. Until he leaves Antonio Conte's side, you cannot see Napoli splashing the cash on the Belgian. Whatever the case, he does not have a future under Maresca, so you would expect some sort of transfer to take place before the market closes. Last summer, Chelsea sold a few players to Saudi Pro League clubs after a disappointing 2022-23 season. N'Golo Kanté, Edouard Mendy and Kalidou Koulibaly all left Chelsea for Saudi Arabia in the 2023 summer transfer window. Koulibaly had only been at Stamford Bridge for 1 season, but that did not stop the central defender from leaving. A current Chelsea player could now make the same move. Al Ittihad are targeting Kepa Arrizabalaga as they look to bring in a new goalkeeper. While Kepa could be moving to Saudi Arabia, though, it looks like one of his former teammates is wanted back in England.